Hiya Ken, super session today. Thanks for your feedback later on in the day. Presumably your practice went well. Obviously today we'll be discussing the shot that you were hitting, which was a little bit left to right. If we take a little look at the main screen here, you can see why the club works left a little bit too much through impact. So we talked about the fact that the club was working across the ball to the left, and consequently that ball is going to bend away from the path, so it's going to bend to the right when we swing through in that manner. So we've got to look at ways of trying to keep the club coming from the inside to the outside a little bit more. And what we discussed was the movement that you make during your backswing. And you can see here we've put the line up the centre of your body. You tend to see that the upper centre, your sternum, moves off the golf ball or off that line a little bit too much still, much better than it was, but it's still moving to the right during the backswing. You can see the weight moving into your right side just a little bit too much. And we discussed you were trying to keep your right knee flexed and maybe restrict your hips turning, which doesn't help you stay centred and swing in a circle. If we then look at Grant Waite on the bottom, what we're going to see is a player who keeps his centre much more in position during the backswing. And what enables him to do that is a feeling that the weight is gradually moving further into his left side. So from a pretty evenly distributed weight position at setup, the weight's going to move from 50-50 to 55-45 favouring his front foot to 65-35 at the top. And that's going to allow him to keep centred. With yourself, there's a tendency to go from 50-50 at setup to more 60-40 at the top. What's happening now is during your downswing you're not able to get back onto the golf ball consistently, and whenever the centre of the swing tends to move back, you're hitting the golf ball with a club that's working left through impact. And we discuss why that happens, and if we just illustrate that in red rather than yellow, instead of the centre being on the yellow line, it's now on the red line, which means that the circle you're swinging in has moved into this position, which means that you're going to hit the ball as the club is working to the left, which is what we see here from down the target line. As you're coming through impact, the club is working to the left. You can see those arms working low and across the front of you too much. What we see with a better player here, Grant Waite, is a player who's going to move the ball, move more into his left side during the downswing. So there's a little bit more movement forward with his hips towards his target, and as a result his swing centre has moved forward of where it was at the top of his backswing, and consequently the circle that he swings in now is more in this position, and he's guaranteed that he's going to attack that golf ball from the inside. So as he said, we discussed a lot of things during the session, but that was the crux of it. The other thing we did mention was that just at setup, we just need to soften that posture off a little bit. One way you can do that is just dropping the chin down and not really obsessing too much about the angles you're creating at setup. Did mention that you might want to look at some footage of Ian Woosnam from down the target line, because he has super relaxed posture. Quite easy for a player of his height and build, but it'll give you a good visual to work with. So like I said, great session, and hopefully see you again in a couple of weeks' time. Well done.